They feel entitled to your time, your attention, your admiration, your resources, your friends, your neighbors. They feel entitled to know every single thing about you. They interpret every rejection as an act of aggression, which leads to a narcissistic injury. They react with a very long-standing rage or a sustained rage and vindictiveness. This can turn violent because the narcissist feels that they are omnipotent, perfect, and immune to the consequences of their own actions. Make clear with this type of person that you want no further contact with him or her, and that this decision is permanent. Be firm, do not hesitate in this decision, and make sure they understand it is not personal. You will hold them responsible for their actions, for their stalking, their bullying, their harassment, and you will take all steps necessary to protect yourself. Narcissists are cowards who are very easily intimidated, and luckily they never get that emotionally attached to their prey in certain circumstances. So in some ways they can move on with ease, but there are other types of narcissists who don't necessarily act in this manner, and they hold on for long periods of time in a sustained rage and feeling this vindictiveness towards their ex-partner, and they will often bring in a new partner who will take part in these actions against the target as well. Coping strategies. One of the best coping strategies in a situation like this is to scare the narcissist. Narcissists live in a state of constant anger, repressed aggression. They are constantly jealous. They feel hatred towards everyone, and they firmly believe that every single person on this earth acts, behaves, and thinks exactly like they do. And as a result, they become paranoid, suspicious, and stressed out, scared, unpredictable, and frightening the narcissist in a situation like this is very powerful because it is a modification tool, and if sufficiently deterred, the narcissist will promptly disengage, giving up everything that they've fought for, and somehow may even try to make amends. And to act effectively in a situation such as this, one must identify the vulnerabilities, the susceptibilities of this narcissist, and strike repeated escalating blows at this narcissist until they let go and they vanish. For example, if a narcissist has a secret they're trying to keep under wraps, one must use this fact to threaten them. One should go and drop cryptic hints that there are mysterious witnesses to the events, that they know the truth, that there are people out there who know the truth and who are about to expose them. Because narcissists, they have an imagination that runs wild, and most of the drama and the paranoid thinking takes place in their mind. So their imagination, it's running amok. They're finding themselves just smashed by these horrifying scenarios pursued by the vilest of situations, and they are their worst, like I've said in every video, their worst prosecutor and persecutor, and they always let their imagination do the work for the person trying to inflict the fear. So you may not have to do much, but utter a vague reference, make an ominous illusion, make a hint that there is a possible turn of events, and the narcissist, they'll think of the rest for you. They'll think of every possible scenario that they can. They may be involved in some very serious criminal activity, child abuse, infidelity. There are so many possibilities, which offer a rich vein of attack. If done cleverly, non-committally, gradually, and increasingly, the narcissist will absolutely crumble, disengage, and disappear. This lowers their profile thoroughly, and in hope of avoiding a narcissistic injury or more hurt, pain, shame, and rage. They are known to disown and abandon their entire life, to up and leave in response to a well-focused and impeccably legal campaign by their targets. They relocate, they will establish a new family, they will find another job, abandon fields of professional interest, and avoid friends and acquaintances from their previous life, even change their names. Luring a narcissist. This is another way to neutralize a narcissist and offer continued narcissistic supply at the same time until the war is over and won by the target, you. You have to dazzle the narcissist with narcissistic supply, and they always become docile and tamed in the presence of unfettered narcissistic supply, and they forget their vindictiveness. They become triumphantly repossessed and with their property or with their object, with their territory. And under that influence, it's like a drug to them. They become unable to tell when they're being manipulated, as narcissists are actually very gullible. They are blind, deaf, and dumb when it comes to narcissistic supply, and you can make a narcissist do anything by offering, withholding, or threatening to withhold narcissistic supply, which is admiration, attention, sex, awe, subservience, power, control, fear, etc. Play on that grandiosity and that paranoia, because it is possible to deceive and manipulate a narcissist effortlessly. You must offer narcissistic supply, admiration, adulation, and they are yours. Harp on their insecurities and their persecutory delusions, and they are likely to trust you and only you, and to cling to you for dear life. But be careful, as you must not overdo it. When asked how the narcissist is likely to react to continued mistreatment, this is something that is well known. Their initial reaction of their perceived humiliation is a conscious rejection of the humiliating input. So the narcissist, they're going to try to ignore it, talk it out of existence, belittle its importance. And if this crude mechanism of cognitive dissonance fails, the narcissist resorts to denial, repression, and they will do anything to hide the humiliating material, aka the truth. They forget all about it. They get it out of their minds, and when reminded of it, they deny it. But these are usually a stopgap, and these disturbing things are bound to impinge on the narcissist's tortured consciousness. And that once they are aware of the reemergence of these truths, the narcissist will use fantasy to counteract and counterbalance this. They will manage to do horrible things, or accuse you of horrible things that you may or may not have ever done. It is through this fantasy that the narcissist seeks to redeem their pride, their shame, their dignity, and to reestablish that damaged sense of uniqueness and grandiosity. And paradoxically, the narcissist does not mind being humiliated if it were to make him or her more unique, or to draw more attention to their person. So for instance, say there is an injustice involved in the process of this humiliation, and it is unprecedented. Or if the humiliating acts or words place the narcissist in this very unique position, and they transform them into, say, a public figure, the narcissist, they're going to try to encourage these behaviors even more so, and to elicit them from others even more so, because this is how they fantasize about how they defiantly demean and debase their opponents by forcing them to behave even more barbarously than before, to do their unjust business, and to conduct this universally recognized, condemned behavior. And they become publicly vindicated in some situations, and this self-respect is restored. They become a martyr, and it is a good method of obtaining unlimited amounts of narcissistic supply. But fantasy always has its limits, and once reached, the narcissist is likely to experience waves of self-doubt, self-hatred, self-loathing, and the outcomes of helplessness and realizing the depths of their dependence on supply. These feelings culminate in this severe self-directed aggression, depression, destructive self-defeating behaviors, or even suicidal ideation. Once the mask is ripped off and the fantasy is revealed for what it is, just pure make-believe, this is the stage where the narcissist becomes besieged by disturbing, uncontrollable, violent thoughts, and they develop ritualistic reactions to these thoughts, a sequence of motions, an act, an obsessive counterthought, or they may even visualize their aggression or experience auditory hallucinations. This humiliation affects them this deeply. So luckily, the process is an entirely reversible one, because narcissistic supply will eventually be resumed. Almost immediately, once it has resumed, the narcissist will swing from one pole to the other, from being humiliated to elated, from being put down to being reinstated, and from being at the bottom of his own self-imagined pit to occupying the top of his own self-imagined hill. My name is Sara Ann Brown, and this is Narcissistic Abuse 101.